Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Brothers Take podcast, a podcast where lately we've been talking about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. My name is Kris. I'm joined once again by my brother Eric.
Hello.
And as we explained in our last episode, we won't have Adam for the next few weeks and episodes. He's prepping to work abroad again. We wish him the best of luck. Can't wait to catch up with him when he's back. But he did say the show must go on and asked us to continue on with the Rebirth Spoilercast to finish it, and then later on down the line we can always touch base with him again on Rebirth when we want to talk about part 3 and stuff like that. But we're here to finish off the Rebirth Spoilercast in this week's episode because we're going to be sharing our full spoiler-filled thoughts on the ending. So that is your final spoiler warning. If you have not finished Rebirth, get out of here. What do you... I mean, if you've been playing the game, you probably have, because we've probably been way behind on time in terms of talking about this stuff. Yeah. But yeah, so you probably have finished it, but maybe you haven't. Maybe you only picked it up recently and stuff. You know, there's going to be plenty of people play the game at a later stage. And if you've decided to listen to this, even though it was called Spoilercast, the ending, just know that it will contain spoilers for not only the entirety of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but also for the original game and the Final Fantasy VII compilation, because that is the lens through which we have played this game. We may reference stuff from the entirety of the Final Fantasy VII mythology at this point, so just bear that in mind as you listen, as we share our take, and of course we want to hear your take too. So if you guys watch the YouTube, make sure you jump down into the comments to share your take on the ending and the game as a whole. And if you enjoy this episode, please give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, ring the notification bell for all future content, not only when we go on to talk about part 3 of the Final Fantasy VII Remake project, but also everything else that we'll talk about in for the rest of the year and going forward. To those who listen to us on audio platforms, you can also touch base on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and X at The Brothers Take, again, to give your take on the ending of Rebirth. Did we like it? Did we love it? Did we hate it? You're about to find out. Let's kick off the intro. Okay, so just before we get into the actual ending and breaking it down and all that kind of stuff, I just want to say, first of all, you'll probably notice that we don't sound any better. And that's because we decided, while we were in like Rebirth mode, we just decided to bulk record the 2 episodes in a row. So even though you're listening to this at a much later point, we actually recorded this straight after our last episode when we're still sick and we were like, we have nothing else to do. We might as well be. We might as well do this. So that's why we sound no better. We're still in the degradation phase.
It's fun.
It's
good crack.
It's good crack. Hopefully,
everyone should join the degradation squad.
Hopefully it's not affecting too much anyone's enjoyment of listening to the podcast. But we must go on. Eric, what I want to do, starting off, I want to now get, having finished the game, your general overview or review of the game before we go into the ending.
Right. A general overall, I prefer Remake.
Wow. There you go.
To Rebirth. I think Remake had a lot more, weirdly enough, grounded, if that makes sense. Because I think, like, as I said in like previous episodes, definitely the last time I said it, where I talked about the Moogle Emporium, and I just didn't understand how that fits into the world of Final Fantasy VII. Because Final Fantasy VII had a bit of a, almost like a low-level magic world. So, like, that idea of this is the world, these are the people, these are the creatures, this is how magic works, that's it. There is no mystical tree that sends you off to playground land, and
right,
you know, there is, or like the weird demonic possessed cards that will affect you. Like, that's not going to exist in this world because it doesn't fit within the magic of the world. And so that's the thing about Remake, was that it fit my perception of that's how the world worked. It was then much more streamlined. I thought the characters were great. I thought the way the story unfolded was great. This one then was just way more goofy. Way more happy. Everything is bright. Everything's great. Everything is awesome. It's like, hold on, everything's not awesome. Calm down. And then mainly the biggest drag was the side quests and the amount of content. Again, sometimes saying that you have over 300 hours of gameplay isn't the best because it depends on what that over 300 hours of gameplay looks like. If it's if it's repeating itself, that's not fun. That's tedious and annoying. So, but
Probably before you go further, probably weren't not you are exaggerating there. I think in terms of this game doesn't have 300 hours of content.
oh no, sorry, yeah, sorry,
in a loose kind of in case someone takes you literally and is like, wait, what? It took you 300 hours to play this game?
No,
no, not at all.
No, not at all. But yeah, I mean, like when there was a time period in gaming, kind of when games were being made, where people were like, our games have over blah 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 amount of hours. That was supposed to be like the selling point.
Yes, yeah.
No, this game does not take over 300 hours, but it does. It certainly is a lot longer because of the amount of side content. Now, in saying that, when I was replaying it, I didn't replay the whole thing. Just being able to get on with it because they do that nice little thing that they do where if you've done the side quest, it is now done.
Yes.
For New Game Plus, so you don't have to worry about it. So then getting on with the story felt better because it felt much more smooth.
Mm-hmm.
So in saying that then, so the story and the characters and gameplay is really good. It's just a lot of the side content distracts.
Yeah.
And the world is great. I love actually the design of the locations is great. Exploring some of those areas was a pain in the arse. Like Cosmo Canyon or Gangaga, they were a pain in the arse. But they looked really nice. They were so diverse.
Yeah. For me, on a technical level, I think this is a better game than Remake. But I emotionally resonated with Remake more. But I think that was always going to be the case. And I think it's that when Remake happened, it was like...
It's finally happening.
I can't believe this is real.
Yeah.
And this is the continuation of that. I can't believe this is real. There are many moments in Rebirth where I had to put the controller down and go, I just can't believe this is actually a thing. And then there's many other moments where I was like, nah, they didn't need this. They didn't need this part. You know,
other moments where like, I can't believe this is a thing.
I can't believe this is a thing.
Wow.
Like, it does not surprise me at all that Rebirth would have a higher critic rating than Remake.
Right, no, it doesn't.
For like the sheer amount of, and yes, okay, this can be a negative too, but for the sheer amount of content. But there is also, like, while a lot of that content is repeated, there is also a variety of content.
Yes, true.
There's a lot of like mini games and stuff, and for some people that's going to be a problem. For others, it's going to be a breath of fresh air. I think Rebirth is the best Final Fantasy game. And I mean Final Fantasy in years.
Oh.
In terms of the series, right?
Yeah.
Is a better Final Fantasy VII game than Remake? That's maybe down to the person, and it also depends on what about the original do you like more.
Right.
Midgar is the most iconic part of the original because when people replay the game, they always replay that part. Then they get out into the world and they play a bit, and then they realize they have to grind, and then they kind of fall off and they stop, right?
Right. Yes.
So Midgar was always going to be the most nostalgic, most iconic, most, memorable part of the story, I think. And honestly, the best part is to come. The best part is part 3. Hands down. So wait till that fucking happens. All of the best story parts are still to come. But part 2 is a Final Fantasy game. Chocobos and Moogles and exploring the world, and Jesus, do you get to explore this world? Like, it's in the amount of time that it took to come out. I think this game is incredible, but that does not mean I don't have problems with it. As we've talked throughout the spoiler cast in certain episodes, there are certain decisions they made that I don't particularly like. There is maybe an overabundance of the same kind of stuff that happens in each region that starts to make it feel tedious to do. But if you don't do it, then you feel like you're not progressing enough.
Right.
So it's hard to get that balance right of how much of this optional stuff should you do and how much of the main stuff should you push on with. So the pacing can be a little bit off, I think, in the game.
Yeah.
But the character writing is unbelievable. It's so fucking good. Right up there with Remake, I think. I think they've continued to write these characters and their interactions so incredibly well. But yeah, I think this is a incredible game, but not without its problems, including the ending. So
he said it. He said it, guys.
we're going to be talking about the ending, which I have problems with. And I remember hearing, it had me so curious, and the reason I had to push on to finish this game before I saw any spoilers was every critic who played the game that I was listening to a review of, they all said that, well, most of them said that they love the game, but that they hate the ending. And I was like, what could that mean? like, what could that mean? I was like, there's a couple of possibilities there, right? So everyone's going in wondering, does Aerith live or does Aerith die?
Right.
And it's like, does it mean that she lives and they hate it for that reason? Does it mean she just straight up dies and they hate it for that reason? Does it mean that they do some other wacky shit and they hate it for that reason? I had no idea. It had me so curious hearing that little piece of where they weren't ruining the ending, but they're all saying they didn't like it.
Yeah.
It had me so curious as to what does that mean? What's going to happen? So I will say that throughout the ending, there's a lot of stuff that I actually like.
Right.
There is stuff that happens that I really like. And there's some cool shit that I'm playing. But then narratively, I think it's a mess.
Narratively, how it's told is probably the worst part of
the game.
How it's told. Because it could actually make complete sense if it just... So I find sometimes with certain storytellers, they either rely on too much explanation where you're like, no, I got it the first time and they're still going.
Yes.
You're like, no. Or they do like where you're often told in kind of cinematic storytelling, they show don't tell. Where they show you, but they're not telling you anything. So they do like the complete opposite. It's like they're over telling you, or they're not telling you anything, and you're just like, "What are you doing?" So this is, I feel, a little bit more we're not telling you anything. We're going to show you a lot of stuff. We're not going to tell you anything, though.
Right. So there's been a lot of, and I have been fascinated though in the discourse online about this. I've listened to loads of people.
Yeah, this was right up your alley.
it was in a way, because I was like, I want to know, like, how do people feel about this? What are people thinking about this? And are people getting something out of this that I'm not getting? Or, my initial reaction was that was needlessly messy. And
should we explain what we're talking about, or are we just going to keep talking?
Well, here's what I want to ask you. Does Aerith die in this game?
Yeah.
Right, she does. Yeah. I think so. She does die.
Yeah, she does.
Does she also live?
Yeah.
Does she, though?
Okay. So, for context for people, so we just fell down the chasm, and now we're in weird-ass Midgar.
We wake up in what Aerith says, just think of it as a dream. My dream, to be precise.
Right.
Yeah.
You're doing all that anyway, right?
You go on a date with Aerith.
Finally, she gets her date.
The music is beautiful. It feels very much like this is going to be a goodbye.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did anything about that whole sequence feel weird to you when you were initially playing it?
Yeah, the whole fucking thing. I fell down a chasm and now I'm in Midgar. She's telling me don't look in the sky.
Yeah,
and everyone is behaving all happy. And it's like, what is going on?
And they're all like, though it's a pity the world's going to end. And also, because I thought when you wake up there in that room, I was like, okay, so this is Cloud, the coma Cloud, who has been with Zack the whole time, finally waking up.
Right.
But it's not.
No.
Because you look at what he's wearing.
And it's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing. He hasn't got the two shoulder pieces. It's
No.
Cloud as he looks to us in the game. And then of course you get to like the table of things you can buy. This is where I really went, wait, what? The stamp is different to Zack's
never noticed
stamp,
that. Never noticed.
I remember we had a big debate at the end of when we were
I
talking
don't
about
care
remake.
about Stamp and his Bow Wow Wows.
It turns out though that you should, and that people weren't batshit crazy.
Oh yeah.
Right. So in remake, there's a whole this conversation is probably going to be all over the place, but we're only focusing on just the ending.
Because you know what,
the ending
this
is all over
the place.
Yes, yeah. I will say, by the way, this has not ruined my excitement for part 3. Just so people know, I just wish this ending was handled differently. But anyway, going on. In remake, there's a whole mission where you're down in the trains tracks, and they're like, if you're lost, follow Stamp.
Right.
Yeah, great. And it's like, you're not really paying attention at the time, but what they're saying to you is, if you're lost, follow Stamp. Stamp is sort of the clue or the key, right?
Right.
So at the very end of the game, Zack survives. A stamp bag goes across the screen. They freeze frame on it as if that's not important. Some people were like, "Why? Oh, it's just a different branded bag." It's like, well, then why would you freeze frame on it? As like, this is important. Look at this. Look at the bag, right? And it's a different breed of stamp or whatever. And Zack lives, right? And then at the start of this game, you see the big Shinra building where Zack is, and it shows Stamp again, and it's the stamp from that bag and not our Beagle stamp, right? So then at this, so I was like, Grand, there's 2 worlds then. There's Stamp, where he's a terrier, and there's Stamp, where he's a Beagle.
Okay.
We're in the Beagle stamp world, Zack's in the terrier stamp world, and other things are probably different there. That's why when I got to this point where I was like, yeah, this is Zack's world or whatever, and I see then there's a Shih Tzu on the table, and you get to another point and there's a bag of crisps with a Shih Tzu stamp. I was like, wait, what? So this is a third one? And then you get to a scene with Zack and he's eating a bag of crisps. Oh no, Biggs is eating a pack of crisps, and Zack comes up to save him.
Right.
And he's got a pug on his bag. I was like, wait, what? So that's another one? What it turns out is if you start piecing them together, there's like 6 different worlds that they show you at the end of the game. And it's very convoluted and confusing because you're like, I thought Zack just went to the reactor or went to Midgard to save Cloud. How come he's now here with Biggs? And it's like, well, actually, he's done both because they're 2 divergent worlds or something like that.
Yeah. This is the problem with when you do alternate realities, is now everything. Now, I like the moment where Cloud kind of explains that. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Where Cloud explains it?
No, sorry, Sephiroth explains it to Cloud.
Oh, yes. Cool music.
Yeah. That was a cool moment and everything. Because, again, I was not paying attention to the stamp because I don't care about stamp, but the dogs are the bow.
Turns out you should. Bow Wow is the key.
No, I'm still out of protest, not going to pay attention to Stamp.
I refuse. In the next game, I will not look at Stamp at all.
No. Anytime someone offers me Stamp, I will kill them. I'll nope them right out of existence.
Bow wow. Anyway, go on.
But yeah, so that moment was cool. But the problem when you do alternate realities is Biggs died. Biggs is alive. Zack died. Zack is alive. You did this. Well, actually, you did that. There is no consequence now because in another reality, that didn't happen.
Yes, yeah.
And if there is a way then to actually access those realities that Sephiroth seems to be able to do, well, now you can go, oh, well, I'm going to pop over that reality and try, get my Earth back, I suppose.
Yeah. I'm a fan of the alternate reality story, the what if story. I'm a fan of that if there's one of them. right? I'm a fan of like
Well, like Flashpoint, the Flashpoint story.
Flashpoint in DC Comics, where it's like, if that didn't happen, what would happen, right?
Right, it's a
And
great
then
story.
it's a great way of exploring the characters in different scenarios, different situations. What if Bruce Wayne died in the alleyway? What happens then? Maybe Thomas Wayne becomes Batman. Like, that's an interesting what if story. I much prefer that over a multiverse where it's like all the endless possibilities could happen or are happening or whatever. Um, I don't know how many realities there are in Rebirth. I don't think it's
See,
suggesting that there are endless amount though.
all right, because so I thought then when that was being explained to me by Sephiroth, because again I wasn't picking up on Stamp. I thought to myself, oh, and when Cloud saved Aerith,
Right.
you know, there's the bit you're actually in. We are going all over the place with this. When you're in the Forgotten Capital,
Yeah.
you get to Aerith and she's praying, and Sephiroth comes down with the sword. Oh my god, it's the iconic moment, the iconic shot. But
Yeah.
Cloud manages to get there in time,
Yeah.
and he
At
deflects the
first,
sword.
I was like, that really did get me in a moment.
I was like, "Fuck yes!"
He
Right?
did it. He did
He
it.
did it. And then he looks, and then she's still dead.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, that's weird." Because I think for a moment, this is after I do believe Sephiroth explained the multiple timelines.
Yes.
Is it? Yes.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's the end of that sequence. So I thought then that 1997 Final Fantasy
Yeah.
was one world among this multiverse.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that in that reality, Aerith died, but in this one, Aerith is going to live. And the Final Fantasy VII remake was chronologically the first one. That's what I thought they were doing. And I was like, that would be so mind blown.
Right. That's where they divert.
Mm.
Right.
That probably would have been more
To
coherent
me,
and
right?
better.
To me, what would have helped here is because I was kind of with them to a point, right? I thought that when he was coming down, like the music was amazing, even in the build up, and as you're tapping the thing to put the sword down,
Right.
and like it was really intense. And then the black feather falls, and Sephiroth comes down, and it takes just as long as the original, and you're just kind of waiting to see does it impact or not. And then at the last minute, Cloud goes no and blocks it, and the music is intense again, and you're like, holy shit, what? And then there's the flashes, and blood on the sword, and she falls forward, and the thing falls, and her music plays. Had that continued then, like that, I'd have been like, wow, they got me. They gave me a moment of false hope and then took it away from me, which is so Sephiroth.
Yeah.
But when Cloud kept seeing her wake up,
right,
and telling him it's okay and all, that's where I was like, hold on, wait, so what's going on here? Like, is she dead or isn't she dead? Like, give me
it takes away the emotion out of the player.
I felt so. And I also felt robbed of the burial. I'm shocked that the burial's not here. Like, we should have played that.
Yeah.
We should have had to carry her out, walk into the water to her music, and put her in the lake. That would have emotionally broke us, I think. We were robbed of that. And I don't know if maybe that's the feeling they want, is like you were robbed of Earth. Like you have no closure at all. But because she's there all the time, I feel like I haven't lost her. I don't even need closure. She was right there. She fought with me even.
Yeah.
She died a second ago and here she is again. And I'm like, don't get me wrong. When she shows up and Sephiroth goes, I underestimated you. I thought that was amazing. This is where I'm saying, like, there's stuff in here that I think is great. But man, that should be part 3.
Right.
We shouldn't have her for a whole game, and then she shows up in the live stream place, fights with you in part 3, and that's when Sephiroth goes, I underestimated you. Like, you've been playing a long game, and I didn't like, you've been working in the shadows in the live stream dude's stuff is like, oh, well played. Kind of like, because it happened like immediately after he just killed her. It's like, I don't even know what you're saying that for. I don't know what she just did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Are we getting the sense that they showed us two timelines overlapping, and in one he saved her and one he didn't? Or are we getting the sense that Cloud is in denial?
Fucking right. So I think with when Cloud is the battle is over,
Yeah.
the end of the game, and Cloud is seeing her, and he's all like, everything's fine. And everyone else is heartbroken. They're like wondering what the fuck is wrong with you. I think he's just seeing her. No different than the way he saw her in Advent Children.
Yes, yeah. Oh yeah, it's like Force Ghost.
Force Ghost type thing.
Yeah.
I think when she shows up at the end, that's alternate era. In the fight. In the fight.
In the fight. Right, okay. In that space between spaces where he's also interacted with Zack and...
Yes. So Aerith has come from another timeline.
So that's not dead Aerith. That's another Aerith.
That's another Aerith.
Right.
I think.
What I'm asking, though, is when he blocks with the sword...
He does both.
So do you think that it is showing the two outcomes overlapping? Not... Because another pickup I've gotten from people is that they think Cloud is in denial. And he's like, no, I did save her, right?
See, I just don't really think it's very Cloud to be in denial of
really
fucking of fucking up.
Right.
If anything,
yeah,
he would see Aerith being dead,
right?
And everyone would be like, "No, she's alive." He's like,
I don't know though, because so his original fuck up, and we did say spoilers for the original, guys. You gotta be careful. His original fuck up is he never made it into Soldier at all. He's in denial about that.
Yeah, but he thinks he killed.
You
know? Is he in denial, or is he just?
He's in complete denial about that he never made it into Soldier.
But does he remember that?
Well, that's where there's a bit of like,
because he doesn't remember that he got experimented on, so his mind got fucked up with the Mako.
That's what I'm wondering though. Is his mind fucking this up too? Like,
God damn it, Cloud, get your mind together.
Well, that's what part 3 is about.
Because that's the thing in at the start of this whole chapter is when well, not the start, when you leave Fairyland, Sector 5 Fairyland, and you are walking through the White Woods, isn't it? The forest, the ancient forest.
Yeah.
And
you don't have to get the lunar harp or anything. You don't have to go to Bone Village or
no. You just walk through the forest.
Yeah.
And everyone's talking to you. And there's a moment with
that's
Tifa.
A really nice moment.
It's a really nice moment. And there's a moment with Tifa, I think, where she talks to him about just seeking help.
Yeah, she tells him you need to go to therapy.
Yeah. So it's okay to talk about it. It's like, yes, that's a brilliant moment without being so nail on the head about it.
Yeah.
It fits really well with that character and what he's going through, because he fucking does need to talk about whatever the hell he's going through.
Yes, yeah.
Him not talking is causing more issues than
anything else.
Well,
I think this is where there is, like I said, there is a lot to like about the final chapter too. I don't think it's very similar to when I first played Remake, where it's like, I'm playing some cool shit, but what the fuck is happening?
Right, yeah.
Right? It's like don't get me wrong, I'm enjoying this. And there's some stuff in here where I'm like, that's sick as fuck. But then I look back at it all and I go, why did you do that?
Yeah.
And they kind of similarly did it here. And in a strange way, I felt that the game took its time and then at the end rushed.
Very much so.
I feel like we should have explored this area. I like the whole, in the original, the lead up to the Temple of the Ancients, and in this weird barren place, or not Temple of the Ancients, the Forgotten Capital, this weird barren place with this weird music, and it's
Mm.
like, what the fuck is this place? Like, I felt like we should have been able to get a good lead up to it rather than let's rush you into the ending and let's show you a shitload of shit. You're like, fuck.
Yeah. Because there's 14 chapters of this. And there's 18 in the first one. It's weird.
Yeah, now in saying that, the 14 chapters here are
Much longer.
longer, but
Yeah.
but
But sometimes
I
I
hear what you're
felt
saying.
I sometimes I felt that there was like chapters that were long that I was like, boy, this could be cut in half. But then maybe that was just all the side content that made
Not
that
just
feel
that.
that way.
No, I felt that Junon could have been 2 chapters. Under Junon and above Junon could have been 2 chapters.
Yeah, probably.
But that was all one continuous. Like when you get out of the Mithril Mines, up until you're on the ship, is all one chapter.
It's quite
And
long. That is lengthy. Like
lot
there's a lot
happens
of
there,
stuff
you know what I
happening
mean?
there. Yeah, and a lot happens here, but in like a quicker amount. What feels like a quicker amount of time.
It's a very quick succession where you're like, and I also right, okay, so we're really jumping around, but it's gonna be hard to keep on track really. So the whole Earth dying thing, right?
Right.
Um, so you're of the opinion then that you see kind of Force Ghost Aerith
Right.
whenever Cloud sees her, but no one else sees her, right? I'm
Yeah.
right with you, and I've heard another theory that is a cool theory, but I'm like, I don't think it adds up, because like, so when she's in the field at the end, and Cloud can see her and talk to her, but no one else can. But Red senses her.
Right.
She's beside Red at one point, and he goes, Aerith? And he looks up. I've seen this theory online. What if it's Genova? Do you buy
Right.
this at all? That so because right, so here the theory is that they spend the whole game Sephiroth reminding you that Genova could turn into anyone, those you hate, those you love, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that they keep kind of pointing you towards Tifa. It's like, I killed her. You remember I killed her? She can't be Tifa, blah, blah, blah. The theory is that Genova is turning into Aerith now and will be manipulating Cloud as Aerith in the next game.
Okay.
Which is an amazing theory.
Right.
But I don't think it adds up because everyone would see her, surely.
That's the point I would have said. Yeah, everyone would see her.
Because it's not like she could exist within the mind of one person only, right? Like, the whole thing of, is she Tifa or not, is that everyone can see Tifa.
Yes. She physically turns into the person.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my, as cool a theory as it is, that's my counter to it, is that, I don't think so. I think it's Force Ghost, Aerith kind of thing.
Speaking of Genova, though.
Oh,
the
my
fucking awesome
God.
boss fight.
So this is where the good comes back in. We're going to be up and down. I think the Genova boss fight is the best boss fight in the game.
It's so good.
It's a fucking incredible.
It should have just been the only last boss fight of the game.
I agree. I do agree. As great as it is always to fight Sephiroth, but we'll get to that in a moment. The fucking music. This is where I teared up. The death didn't get me at all because it wasn't clear enough.
No.
But the swelling of the music, I teared up. I thought it was amazing. And then
I think you pointed out to me that everyone except for Cloud has their limit break
in that fight.
That's cool.
They all go into the fight with the limit break. And of course, after Sephiroth has given the speech of saying, never have I felt people's pain so keenly. It's so clear that like he killed her, right? Like from what he's saying. He obviously stabbed her and they've all seen it. And Cloud's seeing something different. And he says to Cloud, you will never see the truth with such clouded eyes.
And then he replies with like, but I'll cut you down at my strife.
Yeah. Play on words.
He doesn't say. Yeah, he doesn't actually say that, guys. Just in case you wondered.
But it is really interesting then that Cloud would be the only one without a limit break, either because he's in denial or either because he knows in some other alternate world he saved her. Whatever it is, whatever it means, he is not at his limit. Yep. And Sephiroth's calling him a puppet who feels no emotions, and everyone else is at their limit. They've been fucking pushed to the edge, and then they get to use it on Genova for what is an epic, epic fight where everyone is involved. I thought it was fucking so sick.
It was fucking Advent Children. It was like fighting Bahamut's in.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
just
yeah. It's just pure epic. It made me think this is how they're going to do weapons.
hmm.
Make them big epic spectacles where everyone is fighting at least a bit of it, you know?
Man, like they're not gonna do the weapons. Like,
Why are you saying that? Of course they will. Of course they will.
just there's those two weapons and that's it. Those two whales.
It's
That's it.
actually pivotal to the story. It's not even like an optional thing. It's like
No.
they have to be in it.
No, not there. Yeah, it's gonna be optional.
Okay, you weirdo. You know, people are going to believe you, and then they're going to be like, "What the? This guy knows nothing."
Well, actually, they may say that most of the weapons I'll have you know are actually optional. There are only
Uh,
two you have to fight.
there you go. He said it. Which are the two?
Boom. Oh, diamond weapon and the fucking. I was about to say, it's not Omega weapon.
No.
Ultimate weapon?
Yeah. He knows his shit. Okay. So, yeah, we fight Epic Genova fight. It's unreal. It's the best boss fight in the game. Music
It's so
is
good. It's actually very Advent Children cinematic.
100%. And yes, I agree. Could have easily just been the final fight. Afterwards, you walk Aerith out and do the burial, and it would have been a very touching ending to the game.
Emotional ending.
However, because Sephiroth is the main villain, they're like, let's have you fight Sephiroth again. And it's like,
yes,
don't get me wrong, it's always cool fighting Sephiroth, but the more we beat this guy, the less of an impact he's going to have by the time we fight him in the third game.
That's exactly the thought I had.
Yeah. So he turns into Bizarro Sephiroth, or in this one, it's called Sephiroth Reborn.
Right, and it's
looks
weird.
Well, it looks perfect. It looks identical to how it looked in the original.
Right, I don't remember this design.
You don't remember this one?
I don't. So I looked at this and I was like,
what the fuck is this?
Yeah, because I remember Safer Sephiroth? Or
yes, yeah, his final form.
Right, so I remember that. So I was looking at this,
saving that for the third one.
Right. So I seen this anyway, and I was like, he's kind of got the six wings, but what the fuck is going on?
Oh, did you think this was supposed to be their interpretation of that?
Yes, and I was like, what kind of weird ass? I was like, no, this is supposed to be a different design that they just came up with for this game.
Yeah. No, so I remember Bizarro Sephiroth, and I was like, that's bang on. Yeah, that's exactly what he looks like. If you Google it, it's like, yeah.
No, I saw images afterwards.
And you were like, yep, that's it.
I was like, oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, when we talked about Remake, and we talked about who the final boss of each game could be, one of the theories was, I wonder will they just do like his different phases in each game or something. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that is exactly what they did.
Yeah.
But in this fight, you also get to play as Zack.
Now,
this was cool.
Me Gongaga.
What?
Yeah,
Gongaga.
Yeah, it's a fucking meme going around now all the time. That's all they associate Zack with.
Okay. I don't know what you're talking about, but so I thought it was really cool. Zack and Cloud fighting together.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cool fan service moment.
Right.
Again, save it for the third one, guys.
Save that for the third one, and also if you are gonna do it, make them acknowledge
each other.
Yeah.
Be like, how are you here?
Yeah, how are you here? What's going on? Yeah. Why are you wearing different clothes? How are you wielding my sword?
How am I also wielding my sword?
I am Zack. Oh, the douchebag that left Aerith heartbroken? What? I didn't do that. Like, there's a lot to unpack there between these two guys. And they're just like, hey boy, let's attack Bizarro Sephiroth, and that's it.
Yeah. So I thought it was really fun. This is another thing where I'm talking about, it's like, I enjoyed playing it.
Yes.
I thought it was great crack playing it.
Yes.
But narratively, I was like, this isn't really adding up or making sense. It made sense to me that at the end you would play as Zack. But I actually thought when it was leading up to it and he was going to go save Cloud.
Right.
How fucking sick would it have been had they played the bombing mission music? And while you're playing as the main party here, over on this side, Zack is going into the Shinra building. And yeah, maybe he fights a boss there. Maybe it's fucking Genesis, right? I'm not saying I want Genesis, But maybe
But
it's
there's your Sephiroth fight
yeah,
night.
yeah, and maybe it's a Genesis clone or something, or
Right.
maybe it's Vice, maybe it's fucking Nero. I don't know. Maybe it's just someone in the Shinra building that Zack fights while you're fighting Genova, and there's your two different boss fights going on
Hmm.
for the finale of the game, and you've got to play as Zack finally with like a combat set where you're like, oh, sick, and it's giving you maybe a tease that you'll get to play as him more in the third one, and also make you want that. Will he ever party up with the guys? You know, and
Right.
that, but it has me wondering. It's like, what the? They must have something planned for the third one.
They have to have, like, they would have had to have all this planned before they ever even started remake. So they knew that they were doing a multiverse before they ever released remake.
Well, yes, yeah,
So
but they also have to like. There's no way they went right. Let's put Zack and Cloud together if they don't have something else
oh yeah, that's what I
planned
mean
to
though. Like
top that. Like you know.
they definitely have to have had this all, the story beats all planned, and the kind of overall general plot and what people are wanting and stuff, character arcs.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I still felt empty with the end of this one.
Right. I heard someone else say that, and it was interesting to me that the other person. So there was two guys on another podcast who played this game, and when they were talking about the ending, one of them said I felt empty, like I felt nothing, and for the other one they said that's why they loved it, and they said you're supposed to feel empty after someone dies. But I was like, I get where you're coming from, but I don't think it's the same emptiness.
Yes, it's not. Sorry, it's not the
Yeah,
same emptiness. Yeah,
yeah.
it's
I
not the.
It's not that I feel empty, like I've lost someone and now I don't know how to process it. It's actually the I don't feel anything because it was unclear.
Yes, yeah. It was
Yeah,
more. It was more just kind of the. Okay, that's the ending. Not just like because that's like a what your man is talking about, where you're feeling empty because of the loss of someone. That's like shock. You feel
yeah,
nothing because you're in shock. You're trying to
yeah.
process. No, this is not that. This is the emptiness of kind of want to go play another game now. Thanks for
Right.
that.
And the way it
Like,
ended, I felt was just like, yeah, okay, bring on the next one.
yeah,
As opposed to when remake ended, I was like, I need to play the next one.
I actually
I
see
need
this is
to
the
know what
thing.
happens
This
next.
is the thing, right? Okay, so
Go on.
it was almost the same feeling I had for remake.
Oh yeah, because well, your initial playthrough of remake, you were very disappointed
Right,
at,
at
at
the
the end.
end.
Yeah,
Because I was like, I wanted the remake. But
yeah,
then you convinced me, like, no, but think about all the possibilities. All the
right.
things are going to change.
Yeah,
Never got to the end of this one. I went, what was the point in the end of remake if you're just going to do the same fucking thing that you did in the original?
so I'm curious then.
Only convoluted.
I'm curious, like, would you have wanted her to live?
It would have been something different. It would have made the fucking end of remake something.
To me, the ending of remake was really just to have us theorize and be on edge for the many years it was going to take before the game came out. And it wasn't just about, for me, does Aerith live or die, which is like which turned into the big question. To me, it was everything. It was, does this happen?
Right.
Is this going to happen? Is that going to happen that way? Is this going to happen this way? You know. But
But
ultimately, I felt Aerith still has to die. Like, you can't save her. It totally ruins the point of the original game. She has to die.
that's fair. That's fair. Right. But then we saw Zack live.
Yes.
And I think then there was a lot of theories that
Which was like the false hope, right?
the false hope, Aerith could live or whatever, or maybe Jesse is alive. Like, are we plunged into an alternate reality?
Yeah.
I
Yes.
think that was a
Yeah.
lot of theories,
Right. Yeah.
which was interesting because now things could play out differently.
We could meet people in different places and stuff like
Meet
that. Yeah.
people, and they still did that, but it's not really like it actually got affected
Mm-hmm.
by what we did at the end of remake. So my issue then with remake was this still could have played out the exact same way, and Rebirth could have still played out the exact same way.
Yeah.
We just wouldn't have had the unnecessary bits with Zack, because they were unnecessary to the game.
They were in the end of this game, yeah.
Yeah. And then you wouldn't have had your convoluted ending at the end of this.
Yeah. I feel like I wonder when the first game finished. Like, I wonder, would this game have diverted a lot more from the original had people's reception to the ending of the first game not being as bad as it was?
Right.
I wonder, did that make them go, okay, okay. They don't want us that much. Let's keep it more in line with the original.
Well, don't do that ending.
Yeah, I know. I tell you what I would have wanted for this ending. I think what I would have liked is, and only people who have played this game will know what I'm talking about, and I won't spoil it because this is a Rebirth spoiler cast and not a something else spoiler cast. A Plague Tale Requiem.
Oh.
The ending of that game is masterful.
Right, and that leaves you with the emptiness that your man would have been talking about.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, at the end of Plague Tale Requiem, there's a task you have to do.
Right,
The characters have to complete a task. And you're trying to do this task, and it's not working. And eventually, you as the player have to kind of give in order to complete the actual task.
Mm.
And I wonder if so it's not quite a 1-for-1, but I wonder if you translated that where at the end of this game, you keep replaying that sequence and you keep saving Aerith.
Right.
But as a result, you keep seeing a future that's worse or bad, or maybe other characters die, or whatever. And then eventually, the only way to actually end this game is to, you as the player, stop. Don't do anything and let Sephiroth kill her.
Yeah.
The button will come up to prompt to stop it. But every time you do that, it ends some other way. And then the only way to actually roll credits on the game is to do nothing. But you actively have to choose to do nothing. 7 seconds till the end. Time enough for you, perhaps, but what will you do with it? Let's see. I think that would have nailed the ending.
That would have been pretty good.
Personally. And then you do the Genova fight, you walk out with her, put her in the water, the camera pans up, and the music plays and the credits roll. Like, I honestly think, rather than people being ambiguous about it and being like, what does this mean? What did that mean? What did you think of the ending? I actually just think an ending that was a very solid, how did the ending make you feel? Rather than what did you think of the ending?
Yeah. I actually think don't even fight Genova after her death. You can fight Genova before her death.
Okay.
So it feels like that. It gives you that sense of Genova's in your way. You're trying to rush to Aerith, and now Genova's in your way. And, you have your big fight and stuff, and then you're trying to get there. And then the real final boss is yourself, and you're needing to press a button.
Yes, I get what you mean.
So you still have your epic boss fight, but it's not going to take away from the death of
that moment.
Yeah.
It would have been powerful, because I think, I understand what they did with both games, in that I understand that what they want is, they know that there's another 3 years before the next game comes out. We need to keep conversations going. We need to keep people speculating. We need to people wonder, what's the role of that character going to be? How is that character going to come into the next one? All that kind of stuff. And I get it. The first game did a great job at doing that.
Right.
And by God, did we have a lot of content to discuss, and it was so much fun. For this one, they could have gone for an ending like The Last of Us.
Right, yeah.
Where it's very clear what the ending is, but it's but what do you think about that? How do you feel about it? And then you're still going to have your wonder of, how are they going to do this? How are they going to do that? How are they going to do the weapons? How are they,
it's optional.
It's not like the theorizing would stop, because things in this game were different, so you're still I wonder how they're going to do the snowboarding. I wonder how they're going to do it. You know what I mean? I don't think that having a messy kind of convoluted ending is the only way to get people to discuss this game for the next 3 years. I think there's gonna be loads of fucking discussions around what's Wu-Tai gonna look like, the war with Wu-Tai and all that stuff, which we'll talk about shortly. But um, yeah, I think they could have done it a much cleaner, smoother. We are definitively doing this. How do you feel about it? Or save her, but I think saving her was never really on the cards. I think she has to die, I just think it's that thing of, it's a false hope that you could save her, just so that you could feel the pain all over again.
Yeah.
But I wanted to feel the pain. That's my problem.
Yeah, I know. And I like the pain could have happened, the pain could have worked.
Yeah.
If they didn't have the really, really long Sephiroth fight. And the Jenova fight.
Yeah.
Because like she dies, then you fight then you fight Jenova. And then after Jenova, you fight Sephiroth. Then you fight Sephiroth.
Yeah.
Then you're fighting Sephiroth.
Yeah.
And then after that, you fight Sephiroth. And
if you lose, you got to do it all again.
You have to do it all again.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm like, this is shit. This is really, because I had the same thought as you. It's like, if I beat him, I don't fear him now at all. I've bet him twice.
Yeah, he just flies away in this one.
Yeah, he just flies away.
Yeah. I'll tell you what bit, because we were saying like some bits work and some bits don't. I'll tell you what bit really worked for me in this one, in this ending. In the alternate place, when Cloud and Aerith are in the church together, Aerith gives Cloud a white materia to take into his world.
Right.
Is that whole thing of materials getting swapped around and shit. And she tells him, whatever happens, it's not your fault. Right, which to me, I was starting to get a bit teary-eyed here, right? Because I was preparing myself, and then they kind of robbed me of the moment, really. But I was like, okay, this is goodbye. This is Aerith saying goodbye to Cloud, and she knows she's going to die. But I loved the shot of when she pushed him. The music was playing, and the doors opened behind her, and like the fucking Terminator, Sephiroth is just walking up behind her. And that sense of, he's like hunting her in every timeline. Yes. He's killing her everywhere so that she will never be able to stop him. I thought that was a cool idea. And even like, when you're walking around with her in that nice dream place, she's like, come on, let's just go have some fun. And then a black feather falls, and you just hear his voice saying, so this is where you've been hiding.
Yeah.
I thought that was a cool element, and I nearly thought that all the bits with Zack could have been replaced with all bits of different Aeriths getting hunted down and killed throughout the game. And even like a horror section maybe where you're Aerith powerless trying to hide as Sephiroth is hunting you. Like,
yeah,
that would have been really sick. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, just because the fact that Zack kind of amounts to nothing, that might have made a little bit more, like, might have been a bit more interesting, but then it might have given away too much. They might have thought.
Yeah. They were keeping it close to the chest a little bit.
They are everything that we're like discussing and like what they should have done, and this ending is so random and weird. They're hopefully going to explain it in the third one.
I feel like this game is robbed of a payoff because the third game is the payoff. Yeah. Right? That's how I feel. And ultimately, that's how I feel about the end of the game, where it's like, yeah, cool, give me part 3. Let's go. Like, you know, I do think that this game could have had more of a payoff, right? Not only with if they'd just done the death. Another way they could have done it, which I was thinking about, was this game starts with Cloud's flashback. And the whole story is people basically questioning Cloud and Cloud questioning himself and him falling further and further. The payoff to that story is, of course, what happens in the Northern Crater in the original. Right. They weren't afraid to move things around in this game. Like, they move where you meet Sid, and they move, like, Tifa's memories and stuff. Yeah. I think they could have killed Aerith and broken Cloud here. Oh, shit. And then Cloud, as you get the revelation, Cloud goes missing. You finally have an understanding of who Zack is this whole time. Cloud goes missing. Meteor has been summoned. Game ends. I don't actually think that has to happen at the Northern Crater, because we're going to go there anyway to take him on. So it's not like we wouldn't get that location.
Right, yeah.
Do you get me? Like, I think they could have even had a really, like, Empire Strikes Back kind of ending. Earth dies, planet is in danger, game over.
Well, yeah, and like, Fellowship and Ring and all that. Why? Memories, just out of general curiosity, before we start talking about the Wu Tai and all that,
Yeah, yeah.
why do they start world globe trotting when Meteor is summoned?
What do you mean?
So Earth dies. No,
Yeah.
sorry. Cloud gives Sephiroth black materia.
We're talking original now, yeah?
We're talking original.
Yeah.
Goes up, floats up. He gives him and he's in his weird watery sack, and he's got hair growing out of his torso.
Yes.
Weird. Yeah, and he gives
Can't
him
wait to see it. I think it's gonna look great.
the black materia. And then the whole thing bursts and explodes.
Yeah.
And everyone's all separated. And Meteor is summoned straight after that?
Pretty much.
And then
Tifa wakes up a few days later.
Right.
Her and Barrett are captured. They're in Junon, which would have been a great starting point for the next game.
That would be fantastic, actually. Yeah, that would be
And Tifa's like, "Oh, where's Cloud?" And Barrett's like, "Don't worry about Cloud." And he opens the shutters. The sky is red. The music changes, and you can see Meteor coming. And Tifa's like, "Oh shit!" And Barrett's like, "Yep." They say we've got a few days left before the planet gets destroyed. Basically,
that's a great opening. I'm going to ignore my question. That is a great opening for a third game. That's what they should have done.
It would have been a pretty spectacular opening. But then again, maybe it'll make a really good midway point for the next one. I don't know. Like,
maybe.
Plus, they know that you won't have Cloud for a while. You're going to lose him. But then I kind of thought that that's where they were going with the Zack thing. That Zack will come onto your party while you don't have Cloud or something. That they were going to interweave him into the story that way, or I don't know. But yeah, I do think that in a way, this game feels like it doesn't have an ending.
Right.
And I think that's my biggest problem. I think there is no sense of, like, the first game, you're trapped in Midgar and you leave Midgar. You know what I mean? And then obviously there's the other things of, like, you're also trapped by fate and you destroy fate and you're free of change. So it works at a metaphorical level that way. This one ultimately is about Cloud's degradation. Is the real storyline going on. You're hunting Sephiroth, but as it's progressing, Cloud starts at one point and he's getting worse and worse as the game goes on, which is why they keep drawing attention to the black robes, because they're a mirror of what he's going to become. So ultimately, feel like the ending should have actually revealed not the full twist. It should have been Sephiroth's version of the twist. It should have been you are not Cloud Strife.
Right.
You were never in Nibelheim. You are just a copy of me. You are my puppet. And then everything is dire. And yeah, I think that they could have actually rewritten it and put that here. And also give Aerith a nice clean death. That she deserves. She deserves that.
She deserves it. She's great.
Starting to wonder if that's how part 3 opens.
Her clean death?
Yeah. The question being, what the fuck happened at the end there? So, like, in Remake, it was, wait, what? Is Zack alive, or what's going on there? And then they start this game with Zack alive to go, yep, he is alive. There's your answer to that question. I wonder if then this one is like, wait, did Aerith die, or what? What's going on? I wonder if the start of the next game is Aerith dying and the burial. Because there's a reason they left it out. And I don't think it's that we won't see it. I'd be shocked.
It would be it's a very iconic moment in gaming history.
Plus, it'd be a good point to, if they put her in the water and then the camera pans up and do your title.
Final Fantasy VII rematch.
Requiem or something. I don't know.
Revengeance.
Returnal. But anyway, that's just some of our gripes with the ending, as well as some bits we liked about the ending. And it's all a mishmash and convoluted. And it's a hard one to follow this time around. You didn't mention the whole Wu Tai thing. This, for me, was a plus. I don't know how it was like for you.
I liked it.
The Glenn Rufus scene, what did you think?
Well, I mean, like, throughout the whole thing, I think from the minute that Glenn was introduced, Rufus was shocked at him.
Yeah.
It is revealed that Rufus shot him. He's somehow still alive, and he's wearing these black robes. And I was like, "Well, you're not pulling the wool over my eyes. This is Sephiroth." Um,
Did you call that early on? Did you? Were you like
yeah, I was
100%
like, "Well,
Sephiroth?
yeah, it's like it has to be." But
Yeah.
I still having the reveal. It's great because
Yeah.
it makes him even more of that like Terminator or Predator or Alien or that kind of Jason Voorhees type thing, which is like all terrifying murders from the cinematic world. That he just like Rufus shoots him, Glenn, and then Sephiroth just gets up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the bullet didn't bother him. He just gets up and there he is alive, and he's like, you know,
Yeah.
thank you for starting this war, and I will bathe in the fear and pain of everyone. And it's like, what do you want, Sephiroth?
I really liked it. I liked that they have made out actually that Sephiroth is the puppet master of everything.
Mm,
Some people might not like that, and they might like that there was genuine political tension and stuff, but there was. He was just tipping it over the edge. Like, I feel like a war with Wu-Tai Shinra would have happened on its own anyway, inevitably.
right.
He was just giving people the push to get it going. And I like that Rufus caught on. I like that he was like, don't think I don't know what you're doing. I feel like you're trying to distract me from Sephiroth. It's like, well played, you know? And then, of course, Sephiroth appears. And, yeah, I just thought it was really, really cool that he's been playing chess with a lot of different people. He's playing
Yeah.
chess with Aerith in the wider scale of protecting and destroying the planet kind of thing. And they're both betting on Cloud a little bit, which I think is really interesting. Like, Sephiroth is betting on Cloud in a big way, which is more obvious as to why he would. But Aerith is hedging her bets on Cloud too, and I'm like, why would Aerith hedge all of her bets on Cloud of all people?
Why would any of them hedge
Well, like
their?
I get why Sephiroth does.
Why?
He has full control over him.
Yeah, he has full control over all the others too.
He does, but he's like, but people trust Cloud.
It's just it is a little funny within the grand context of the mythology.
Yeah,
Cloud, this random grunt,
yeah,
just
yeah.
managed to get a sneak attack on Sephiroth. And Sephiroth's like, "That's it. He's the dude. He's my man.
He's the guy.
He's
It's
my
that
bro."
scene. It's that scene in Spy Kids 3D or whatever it's called, where it's like, I'm the guy, the real guy. He's the guy. Who are you? The guy. You ever seen that clip? It's fucking hilarious.
Elijah Wood, isn't it?
Yeah, he's the guy.
Oh, he's the guy.
He's the real guy. But yeah, I feel like there's still a long game plan here.
Mm.
Saruf. There was questions about it earlier on. He doesn't show up in the chair and all this
No.
kind of stuff, and they're like, "Oh, I thought he'd show his face." And who is Viceroy Saruf and all this kind. They kind of build a bit of a mystery around him. And Glenn starts speaking about him in a certain way at the end. It's like, so is Rufus is Saruf, right?
Oh, I did know that. I did.
What I picked up from it was that Rufus is Viceroy Saruf
That'd be cool.
and has orchestrated the war of Wutai from the shadows, but he didn't realize he was being orchestrated by, or he was being manipulated by Sephiroth all along anyway.
How is the Viceroy's name spelled?
Well, I did look that up too, and I was like, is it an anagram for Rufus? It's spelled differently, unfortunately.
God damn it!
I know, but
That would be genius. So it'd right in front of us the whole time.
if it was SU or UF, then it would be.
Saruf.
But I think
that
it's
would've
spelled SA or UF or something like that. But it's not
Ah,
far off. I
been
mean,
not far off, but still, it would have been.
I don't know. Who did
would've
you
been
think
good.
it was then, or did you think they just were not showing him?
I thought it was either not showing him or Sephiroth.
Yeah, that there was no Saruf at all.
No.
Yeah, yeah. Well, either way, I think that's true. I think there is no Saruf.
Oh,
Like, it's either that Rufus has made him up and was him, essentially. Because I think he was using that. He was trying to overthrow his father.
right.
Little did he know someone would kill his father before they got a chance. And then he took the seat. And isn't that why Glenn shut up and went, you had promises to make. You still have to fulfill them. You know what I mean? Like, I think Rufus was working with Wutai. And they said in the first game, is that something about he's been away offshore for a long time or something like that. And there was also like there's a in Before Crisis, the mobile game. The lore is that Rufus set up Avalanche.
Oh Jesus, okay.
Yeah. So Rufus set up Avalanche to overthrow his father, so that he could then take over and then, of course, get rid of Avalanche afterwards. So I think here what they're doing is the rewrite is he has initiated the war with Wutai for that
Very good.
same reason, But little did he know Sephiroth was kind of manipulating it. So I think that's a really cool storyline that's going on, and it ties in. Then if there's a war with Wutai and Meteor coming, it's all been orchestrated by Sephiroth, making him the big baddie all along, rather than multiple baddies. So I think
Right.
that's gonna be sick. Um, is there anything else about the final chapter or the ending that you wanted to talk about?
The last line in the entire thing. It's not a line spoken by anyone, it's just text.
Yeah,
No promises will be
await
kept.
at journey's end,
Or await at journey's
something
end.
like that, right?
I like that. That was
Very
good.
nice, very
I don't
nice.
know. My theory brain isn't turned on, so I'm not like, ooh, I wonder what that means. I'm just like, that's poetry right there. That's some Sephiroth poetry right there.
Well, it's another way of saying the unknown journey will continue, isn't it? It's basically saying there's no guarantee that it's going to go the way you think. Basically, again,
It's going to end the same fucking way, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know
Going
if
to
it will
end
actually.
all in a church.
I mean, if you think about it this way, right? As close as they have been in terms of the source material and stuff,
Yeah.
ending a remake is obviously not like the ending of the Midgar section.
No.
And the ending of this game is not necessarily like the ending of the Forgotten Capital section. So why would the ending of the next game be like the ending of the original?
No, it's not going to be like the ending of the original. It's going to be like the ending of Avatar.
Yeah, they'll make it play through
No, it's
Adventure as
all
well.
going to end with them with the Omega weapon, and they're like, "Go, Vincent!" and the power of friendship.
Oh
It'll all
God.
end.
Well, how I actually hope it all ends, but I don't know if this would work because it would mean kind of cutting off the rest of the compilation and stuff. I kind of hope that they find a way to kill Sephiroth, as in forever.
Yes.
I hope that's what this amounts to. Whether that means at the sacrifice of other characters, like maybe that's not so clean as just all the heroes win, yay.
Hmm.
Like maybe there's more trauma to come, but I think ultimately that's how this story should end. That they ultimately kill Sephiroth, and in a way that he can't come back.
Hmm.
There's only one way I can think of that happening, and it would be, you know, a bit of a trauma for the characters, but I it's the only way I can think of.
Vlad has to die.
I think so.
He kills himself to kill
I
Sephiroth.
think that's ultimately how this story has to end, but we'll see. His kind of heroes sacrifice kind of thing.
They launch them both into space so that they can't rejoin the live
They
stream.
tie them both to the rocket. No,
Like the start of that
Jesus.
do you remember that old Captain America movie? From, like,
Yes,
the
I do.
70s? Red Skull
I don't think it
ties.
was that. I think it already looked that old. I think it was a '90s movie.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea though. I have no idea.
Uh,
Um,
what a movie.
yeah, I like that line. The "No promises away to journey's end," and then of course the song. I thought it was. I was trying to place where they were. I thought it was weird. I was like, where are they? Where's that field? Um, if they had been more surrounded by like the trees that have nothing growing on them and stuff, I'd have a better geography of where they were. Like, I was like, are they still on the northern continent? Where the fuck is that field? I have no idea where that is.
They're they're around.
Because
They're on Round Island.
it flew towards the snowy mountains. So I was like, it's obviously the north, but
Right. It's a field in the north.
I know, but I just thought it didn't look right.
Like, yeah, it should have looked a little bit more like a tundra. Like
Yeah,
Skyrim field type things.
yeah, I think
Hey,
so.
Sheriff Skyrim. It's been a while.
Hey!
Hey.
I was curious as well. He ended up with the black materia
Did. And
at
he
the end.
absorbed it into his sword.
He did. I heard a really cool theory from someone who like, is that going to give him the limit break meteor rain?
Yes. Nice.
That would be very tasty.
They're very tasty.
that you start the next game with that limit break because you have the black materia in your sword. And I wonder, does it give Cloud new abilities?
Did
Like,
it
is he?
change the appearance of his sword, or did it
It
just kind
started
of
to go like black. The Buster Sword did.
Yeah, okay.
I like, this is something that I liked about the ending. I don't know how he got it. I'm confused about that, but I like that he's hiding it.
Mm.
That gave it a very One Ring kind of feel.
Yes.
You're like,
Yeah.
nobody else can know I have it.
It's his precious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. I like how devastated Tifa was at the end.
Well, they were all devastated, but yeah.
But she was really, like, she wasn't speaking for the whole ending. I don't think she says a word. She just looks at Cloud with very
Concerned eyes.
Yeah, concerned. Yeah.
Because he's
Best
like
way of
smiling.
putting it. Yeah. He's like, yeah.
He sees Aerith because he's like, everything is fine. And they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude?
I think that's why people are jumping on the theory of he's in denial. Like, she's not dead. She's fine. She's fine. I can see her. She's fine.
Yeah, but then Red 13 wouldn't have went as Aerith?
No, she is dead. She is dead.
Yeah.
What the theory is that Cloud is in denial that she's dead.
I know, but it's still weird that when she sat down beside him, he reacts and says her name.
Who, Red?
Yes.
No, that's not weird. Why would that be weird?
Because she's dead.
Yeah.
He's in denial. He's
Cloud,
seeing
yeah.
a denial. He's seeing his fabrication. He's seeing his imagination.
Yeah.
And so it's just weird that when his imagination sits down beside Red 13 to pat him on the head.
No, sorry. Yeah, I know. Now I get what you mean. I get what you mean now. Yeah. I get what you mean now.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, no, she is obviously like a Force ghost thing.
All right.
What I mean is, I think the theory is that he's not recognizing her as just a Force ghost.
Right.
So he's in denial that she's dead.
Dead that no one else can see her, like.
Yeah, he's like, you're here. It's fine. It's great. Let's go.
Well, hey.
And everyone else is like...
But then he leaves her behind, no butters.
She's like, I'm going to sort this out if you go up here. And he's like, great, I'll do that.
We meet up for drinks afterwards. Play some Queen's Blood. Yeah, no matter.
Sounds great. Sounds great.
It's a date.
I don't know. All I know is I can't wait for part 3. I actually think part 3 is going to be the best one. I really do. And
are they going to do the weapons though?
Yes, and I think they pulled off so many amazing things in this game, and it's just a shame to me that I don't as much cool shit as is packed into the ending, and as fun as it always is to be able to go, what did you think of that? What did you think of this? I don't think they pulled off the ending where they pulled off so much in this game, and I think that's a real shame.
Yeah, they went a little too lackluster with the ending, considering everything else was more straightforward. The plot of the most of the game was, apart from just Cloud's degradation, it was a character story. It was unfolding the stories of nearly everyone else, and then it was just follow the people in the black robes and get the Sephiroth.
Yeah,
like, so the plot was very straightforward to then all of a sudden become very convoluted.
And I think as well, with how fun the game was, with how fun the adventure was, and how many memories you create with just the character interactions, my thinking was that the whole point of this, the whole point of us having fun right now in Costa del Sol, is so that the ending will be more devastating. Because you'll remember all the good times you had, and it was your last chance to have fun, basically. Because the next game won't be fun. You know, it'll be fun to play, but like the characters won't be having fun because they'll be grieving, and then the world will be ending. And you know what I mean? Like it's this is your last chance for fun. So had her death been more clean, I think it would have contrasted with the journey we had incredibly well, and left it on a really sad note. But hey, guys, that's just our take on the ending of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It's a strange one because you look at one of the most iconic scenes in video games ever, and it's like, why would you mess with it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why not just do it exactly as it was, even? And if the only complaint was, oh, they didn't surprise me, that's okay as well. I don't know. But we want to hear what you guys think. How did the ending land for you guys? Did it work? Do you love it? Did you not like it? Has it affected your overall look at the entire game? Or is it just something that you're able to separate from the game? Let us know what you think. I still love the game. I think it's amazing. But I'm disappointed with the ending. I don't think they nailed the ending the way that I thought they should have. I think Eric's in the same boat.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we want to hear from you. So if you're watching YouTube, make sure you jump down into the comments to share your thoughts. If you enjoyed this, please give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, ring the notification bell for all future episodes. To those who listen on audio platforms, you can touch base on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and X at The Brothers Take again to give your take on the ending of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. For now, that concludes our Rebirth spoiler cast, but no promises await. We might be returning to this subject later on in the year when Adam has finished the game, when we want to hear what he thought about it, and when we want to start theorizing and talking about what we think part 3 will be like, what we want to see in part 3. So make sure you're following the podcast for when that eventually comes up. But we'll have lots more other gaming topics to talk about in the meantime. So with that being said, we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.